understand the impact hearing loss has on a person. All our earlier years, we were focusing on children get hearing aids for children. So now the focus has shifted to work on improving awareness on sign language. And so I thought I'll just brief you on who really requires sign language. All right. So as I said, it has a profound impact. And Helen Keller put it very well. She had lost her sense of hearing and she was blind. And when somebody asked her which sense organ, if you could get it back, which sense organ would you want? And she said, vision cuts me off from objects, but hearing cuts me off from people. And I would love to get my hearing back. So that is very well said, because we are all today where we are because of our communication skills, right? And because we can communicate well because we could hear well. So unless you can hear what's going around, you cannot learn language. And language is the essence of being human. So people with hearing problems lose out this very precious gift that all of us have. So just let me run through the little technical term, but it's easy, then you'll understand it better. Hearing is measured in decibels. So this is the decibels that we measure hearing in. And normal hearing is here. And this is how you can correlate it with the environmental sounds. So conversation is just here, 40 to 50 decibels. And 80 to 90 decibels are loud sounds. All right. So how do we measure hearing loss? Oh, sorry, there's a typo here. Degree of hearing loss. Okay, so if a person a child or an adult has 15 to 40 decibels hearing loss, he may not hear faint speech. All right. Moderate loss is 40 to 70 decibels and severe loss is 70 to 90 decibels and profound loss is more than 70. That means the person can hear only sounds above 90 decibels. Here, this person can hear sounds between 70 to 90 decibels. Here, the sound they can hear between 40 to 70. So, which is the population that require hearing aid benefit? This population, mild, moderate, severe, benefit from a hearing aid. All right. We know a lot of senior people, or even anybody can develop a hearing loss at any time. If it is within this degree of loss, you will benefit from a hearing aid. It is this population, the profound loss children and adults, who are really left behind. And Helen Keller had profound hearing loss. And therefore, these people do not develop speech despite a hearing aid because they do not benefit from a hearing aid. So the advancements have been in getting hearing for this population. The advancement is in terms of a cochlear implant. All right. So cochlear implant has revolutionized the lives of children with profound hearing loss. So in the developed countries, this population is finally getting connected, right? Because the cochlear implant has been the most path-breaking development to reduce disability, hearing disability. And unfortunately, in India, it is just picking up and it is very, very expensive. And therefore, it's about the minimum hearing aid, the cochlear implant, the cheapest cochlear implant is about 6 lakhs and it's only for 1 year. All right. So it is very, very few children can really benefit from this and they cannot benefit from a hearing aid. So how is their communication? So this is the population that uses sign language to communicate, because oral language, as we call it, what you and me are using is oral language. That is not accessible to them. Okay, so the word deaf refers to people who have a hearing loss so severe that they don't benefit from a hearing loss, benefit from a hearing aid. Hard of hearing this term is used for people who have a hearing loss, but they can benefit from an auditory device like a hearing aid. So what is the impact of profound hearing loss? This child is born to mostly hearing people, and this child gets completely isolated because he just cannot understand what's this word going around, what language is going around. He doesn't know that there is something oral language. He is only resorting to simple signs to get his needs met. So this child is only basic communication is what he can do with his basic signs. Like I want to eat, I want to sleep. They develop signs easily, but it doesn't go beyond basic communication because he has no access to other deaf people. So only when deaf and deaf people get along can they develop signs to improve their communication. So what is the impact of this deaf child who has no oral language? He is naturally isolated, and education is also very limited. They have to go to a special school. They cannot think of getting integrated in regular schools because a regular school, nobody knows how to communicate with them. So they are isolated. In social life, they have a very limited circle of friends, and job opportunities are also very limited. This leads to very severe professional limitations in their life and a lot of frustration among them because they're all intelligent people. They are intelligent, they are social, and they feel very much left out of society. Children with autism or children with mental retardation, they're not so aware of the social rules. They don't feel that left out as a child with hearing impairment feels because he is social by all means. A child with autism is not social, so he doesn't really miss, having a friend. Of course, milder children with autism do know that they have milder deficits. They want socialization, they want friends. But the moderate children with autism are not really aware of the social rules. They're not missing social. They don't know how to communicate in a social setup. But hearing impaired children feel very left out. And this causes a lot of problems in families who have a child with hearing impairment because the parents also don't know how to sign with this child. So it just remains at very basic communication and doesn't go on to, discussions or planning or any kind of negotiations. This child with sign language doesn't know how to do that and the parents don't understand it. So the services for this group of people was very limited. Fortunately, of late, the awareness on sign language has picked up. The government has taken the initiative and they have said all textbooks must be, the language has to be, the sign language component should be there. There has to be the description of the lesson should be in signs also. So what is sign language? It is a language, right? Because it has its own vocabulary as well as it has its own grammar, just like our language. And in India, the problem again comes on because of the variety of dialects and people, because we have so many languages, right? And how can we expect one sign language for all of India? But they have made an effort. After all these years, they have made a little bit of an effort and tried to unify the signs, and they call it Indian Sign Language. So they have gestures which are decided, confirmed. Everybody knows that this gesture means Bangalore. They will have a sign for every, and everybody agrees upon that. They also use fingers to spell at the alphabets. They can use your fingers to spell. So if you in single hand spelling is there and two hand spelling is there. Okay, so they use a combination. If they don't have a sign for a particular word, they will spell it out. So then you get it. So children with hearing impairment, profound deafness are very good visually because they all depend on lip movement and sign language. Okay, so the Indian National Association of the Deaf estimates that 18 million people in India have deafness. So that's how I'm glad that all of them have managed to convince the government. And I believe now there's a Supreme Court ruling also that says that sign language should be available, an interpreter should be available in all government offices. But this was improvement is just since, I think, 3-4 years. But when we were students, there were a lot of misconceptions about sign language, even 10 years ago. They said, no, it's not acceptable. Nobody wanted their children to sign. Though they were deaf, they're not benefiting from hearing. They would say, no, this child must speak. So there are enough stories that we have heard of how children were forced to speak, forced to wear a hearing aid, which they didn't have benefit for. And after they're 8 or 10, they managed to throw everything and, stand up for what they felt was important, and that they did not benefit from this hearing aid. So even the field of speech and hearing, we were not taught sign language at all as a curriculum, in part of our curriculum, because we were trained to improve the speech part of the child, improve his hearing, improve his speech. Even though those days there were no hearing aid, proper hearing aids. They were the box kind of hearing aids that these children never benefited. Still, we were told to make them speak. So it was so unfair. Because our pioneers said, no, India is such a vast country. When will we organize sign language to be let us teach them to speak. That was really a wrong decision in hindsight. We should have worked towards developing sign language for this population. The other population benefits from hearing aids and they do very well. But these children are really wet because there was such a taboo for sign language. Even today, there is a lot of taboo among parents. They say, no, I want him to speak. What is the use of sign language? It won't help. They don't realize that this child really needs that. All right. For a deaf child, learning to understand a concept is much easier through sign language. We are forcing a system which is so difficult for him to understand. So what happens in deaf schools, most of the children just do rote learning, right? They cannot even understand what's going on. They learn the question, they learn to write the answer, and they somehow pass. If the teacher is good enough and explains the concepts through sign language, this deaf child is able to cope. And this, because they don't have a sign language, a means of communication between their friends, their family, their own true family, they're totally isolated. They're totally isolated. So the movement has started now that we want to include. And so I like to show you a video of the impetus that has taken by a group of deaf adults who are trying to improve awareness around sign language. Can you hear?
No, Radhika, we're not able to hear.
Okay. The lovely music, I don't know. Again, the visual is quite nice.
Increase the volume in your system also.
I put it at maximum. It's all at maximum. All right. So that is a new group of people have come in. Oh. So there is a group, Enable India, I'm sure you all have heard about. They have taken this and got some young deaf boys who have studied in the US, and they are doing this new campaign. So it's very encouraging, and it's very nice that there is a lot of buzz about sign language now. All right. Okay, so what are the challenges for the deaf adult in India? So they have special schools, and there are only one. There is only one college in Bangalore so far for the deaf adults to study their pre-university, and the same college offers a graduate program, one degree course. And according to the Persons with Disability Act 1995, 1% of seats have to be reserved. But these good jobs are going because they don't even know where to get a degree. There's one college in Indore, and there's one college in Chennai, and there's one college in Bangalore. The dearth of good education facilities for the adult deaf is very, very acute. So the need of the hour is to have more sign language interpreters, and they have to be taught sign language so that they can interpret and be the bridge between a deaf person and a hearing person. All right. So there is a great need to increase people to learn sign language. We want to encourage people to learn sign language and then volunteer to go and be an interpreter to some deaf person, and also just make friends with the deaf person, right? And just be friends with them and understand their life, and bring them, improve their ability to interact with everybody. So at the institute, I have got a new faculty who's an experienced teacher in sign language. And we have started courses now, 2-3 courses, basic level, intermediate level, and advanced level. So that end of this course, you will be able to use basic sign language to communicate with the deaf. We also are going to be teaching our deaf children who come to us for therapy. We are going to teach them the subjects through a total communication method, right? They are all getting training to hear. Some of them are implanted. So those who have a cochlear implant through the government schemes, they have got a cochlear implant, but they have got it at the age of 5. So for deaf children to get a cochlear implant at 5, it means they've lost the ability, they've missed the bus, because the brain has a last date to learn language, oral language. For hearing impaired children, if they get the implant before the age of 2, they can learn to speak like you and me. But when they get it at the age of 5, they are going to remain dependent. They'll never learn because the brain is not able to pick up language after a gap of 5 years. So we are going to do total communication in our center now and give them listening as well as all the information through sign language. So I encourage any of my Rotary friends to join these classes and learn sign language. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Shankar and team.
Yeah, thank you, Radhika. Very, very, I think, insightful presentation. And we already have one, volunteer who would like to learn sign language, and he's requesting for an online program.
Yes, yes.
Rotarian Rajesh Kundar. So
Great.
I was also very keen to, because I love languages, and I was also wondering how much time will it take for, let's say, somebody like us who are a working professional.
So
how much time and effort will it require for us?
We are looking at 2 hours per week.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. So we are 2 hours per week is possible. And it is very easy to learn because it's it's not like learning another French or German or something.
Yeah.
It's like common sense, right? When you're saying sad, you just say sad. You say happy, you say I'm happy. So it's very easy to learn.
Right.
So twice a week we are having online classes.
And how many classes we need to get to?
So we are looking at 25, totally 24 to 25 classes.
Okay.
So 3 months.
So Chaya wants to join.
Wonderful.
Rajesh wants to join, and they're saying let us start soon. So that
yes. So next week we will begin. We're planning to start. The first batch is starting next week.
Okay. If I was not having the president's role, I would also would have loved to volunteer.
So you can join the next batch after next year.
Yes. I would like to request our members if they have any questions or any doubts they would like to ask. I'd like to leave the floor open for some question answer session. Either you can unmute and speak, or maybe you can raise a hand. Yes, Deepa, I see you that you unmuted. Would you like to ask any question? And after that, Shashi, you can go next. Yes, Deepa, would you like to ask a question? Deepa Padmanabhan? I don't hear you, so I'll just go to Shashi and then come back to you. Shashi, would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, when you're going to take these online classes, would we be able to help as Rotarians in any deaf school, like hearing?
Yes.
Where would we be able to help to take classes or something like that? Which will be like a social service from our end?
Yes, definitely. If you become good at it and practice it, see, it's like any language. If you practice it, you become good at it. So after 3 months, if you continue to practice it, you will be able to help this deaf child. Anyway, you can give tuition to this deaf child, explain a concept. He's not understanding it. The teacher is talking, no use. And through sign language, you can explain.
Good. So please let's know when you're starting this classes.
Yeah, by next week, I'll send you the details.
Thank you.
And you have one more person who also wants to learn is Usha. She wants to learn as well.
Okay.
We got 3 people already interested to learn this. Deepa Shashindran, you want to ask a question? Over to you, Deepa.
Yeah, Radhika, is it possible to include like dance therapy or music therapy, wherein you can teach them through dance mudras and all that?
This is 2 different things. Dance is a different concept. Sign language is got for communication. They're different signs.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so
will it help in any way that way?
no, it won't help. They learn dance. They learn dance very easily.
Okay.
Because it's
Okay.
natural for them. Our child, our Rotary child, Pooja, she's a
Hmm.
beautiful dancer. She's got rhythm in her. She can do all
Okay.
mudras. But her
Okay.
sign language is very limited because she's not had interaction with people who sign. But now she was in a school, right? Deaf school,
Okay.
Usha. There she must have learned Mew, but her parents don't know. So what is their basic communication? Come and eat, let's go watch TV, don't do this, don't do this. That's it.
Okay.
So I think we should encourage her parents to come and learn too.
Okay.
Usha, you can, I think we should discuss that she can come to our school and she can learn through that for the next 1 year. And then as she gets older, she can go to the hostel.
Yeah, we'll do that, Radhika.
Yeah.
And Deepa Padmanabhan has got a question that do parents of deaf children also need to learn sign language to communicate with the children? If so, how receptive are they to this?
They are not at all receptive. It's so sad. It is so sad. They say, Ayo, Agodilla, madam, because they don't get it that what is the meaning of communication? They're saying, I'm communicating with the child. I said, you asked him to food, you asked him to sleep, that's all. Is that communication? What is your other kid talking to you about? Isn't he telling you stories about what happened in class? Doesn't he telling you to plan something? So the fact, what is communication also misses these parents. They miss that point, that communication is so much information that we share. So we have not been very successful in training parents. Very few parents learn sign language. Because I say there's a social taboo, so it requires a lot of motivation now. I have already had one meeting which I got all hands. Everybody said, no, madam, no, madam. Now I'm going to have another meeting with my parents to convince them that this is going to help your child. The amount of learning that has happened with oralism for a 5-year-old child who just got an implant is maybe they learn 5 things in a month. But if they do it with sign language, they will learn 300. They might learn 500 things in a month. Because it is a natural language for them. So that is the biggest challenge, getting the parents to get them convinced that, sign language is the way forward.
Right.
They look at it as something lesser, not something different and valuable for the child's growth.
Any other questions from the group for Radhika?
So I'm very happy to hear so many people interested.
Radhika, this is Sundar Prakash.
Yes, Sundar.
What is the cost you're going to charge the general public or the
we are going to, that is our problem. We don't know how much to charge because it's not something that is very valuable. So people are not dying to learn, but I have to run the department. So we are looking at about maybe 2,500 a month and give a discount for people who can't, So we're saying those who can pay 2,500 per month and those who can't, but they want to learn, like my students saying, I want to learn, but my parents are not going to give me money for this. So that we're giving them at 500 rupees a month. So that is the discussion that's going on because they don't feel it's valuable, right? But those who can afford can be thought will put a cost of 2,500.
Right.
Okay, just let me know if there are 5 or 10 kids can't pay. Cost is on me.
Oh, wonderful. All right.
I say it today itself. I can confirm to give it.
All right.
Thank you, Sundar. You always.
Thank you so much for the encouragement. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Wonderful.
So, if we don't have any other questions, we can, adjourn the meeting and then open it out for light conversations, and then we can close. Any other questions before we adjourn?
Rashmi has raised her hand.
Yes, Rashmi, go ahead.
I was just wondering if Radhika can just show us some simple signs now so that we can learn.
See, I'm also going to join the course. I've also lost touch. I just know this is thank you. This is good morning, and happy and sad.
And what about this? Something like this you showed up.
See, I had done a dance. I had done a dance ballet when I was about 20 years ago as a fundraiser for the organization that I was working in. So then I told this all I did a dance ballet with deaf people. All right. And they learned it beautifully. So in the end, when everybody was clapping, so I asked the deaf girls, how do they respond? How do you tell the audience that they appreciate? So they said deaf people like this. So they don't clap, they'll just do this. So if they do this, deaf people know that you have applauded. So this is the sign for clapping. So the whole audience, did that. So I explained to the audience that please applaud this way. So then it was so beautiful. Everybody cooperated and just stood up and, signed.
Very nice.
So
Rajesh,
deaf people, unfortunately, everybody just associates them to do dance, drama, painting, because there's no language involved, they do very well in that. But they're understimulated and stimulated because they don't have sign language, access to education through signs.
Rajesh Kundar wants to know when we are starting this.
Next Monday, we'll just give you the date. My Monday, Tuesday, I'll give you the schedule.
Okay.
We're looking at a convenient day because all of us want to attend. So we're looking at 5:30 to 6:30 after working hours twice a week. So I said, I think we should all be able to spare that time. So we are looking at 5:30 to 6:30 twice a week. What do you all say? It'll be easy for you all to stay. Would it be okay?
Yeah, I'm sure we should be.
Yeah.
Right. So good. We already have 3-4 students from this meeting, which is very, very encouraging. And I'm sure you'll have a great first batch. And I'm wishing the first batch all the best and success. And I hope we'll be able to connect with people who have a hearing impairment. And I'm sure we'll add value to their lives. So thank you very much, Radhika. And
thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Rotarian Chaya to propose a vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Chaya, but in bits.
Am I audible?
Maybe you can switch off the video, Chaya, because it is hampering the.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is this better?
Better. Please go ahead.
Oh, it was a great evening today. Starting off with Radhika's invaluable insight to her service, which she's giving to all people. I mean, she's a Rotarian in more ways than one, because her profession itself makes sure that she's with the less abled people, but she's doing a wonderful job. I've had the opportunity of actually visiting Samvad for my mother's hearing problems, and she's so wonderful. She's convinced people, and she runs the place very well. Today's talk was really enlightening, and I can see that everybody is like right away impressed so much that everybody is like kind of keen to learn the sign language. I think we have to go much beyond this and really sensitize people. Maybe at every function that we have, or every public function which we have, maybe the Rotary functions itself, including the ICGFs, maybe we should have an interpreter, who can use sign language and at least do a little bit. If that can be, that becomes the norm, then I think Rotary will be setting an example. It was a wonderful evening, a great eye-opener, Radhika. Congratulations to you, and just keep doing the same thing. And count on us for any help that you need. Rotary is there and we are with you. All right. So I'm also hoping that we have the Samvad project, which we were looking for a global grant. I hope it sees the light of day.
I hope
sometime soon. And wishing you all the best. It was a great evening. And I think I'm saying this from all of us. It was one of very nice, brief sessions, which gave a good insight and hope to sensitize everyone. Yeah. Thank you so much, Radhika. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chaya. And we have also some more appreciations on the chat from Nirmala and Anita. So really, it has been a great evening. Thank you, Radhika, for sparing your time and also volunteering yourself to highlight upon this topic and bringing awareness on this topic and sensitizing us on the same. So if there's nothing else, we will adjourn. I request